Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I wanted to make a video presenting like the workflow of coding a feature for FreeCad. So what I have in mind is to make to improve the rectangular array function, because currently it uses like this box where you put the number of columns and rows that you want, and you have to choose then if you want to go to constrain inter-element separation, if you want to clone the constraints instead of just copying the constraints, and you have that checkbox which is equal vertical or horizontal spacing. So yeah, this is kind of not optimal because you can check that box, but then you have the same spacing in both direction, and if you don't, you get random vertical spacing. So I just show you. Also, you don't have a preview, so it's not optimal. You have a snap mode which lets you go straight, horizontal or vertical, or at 5 degrees. So that's already nice, but yeah, you don't have a preview, and I'll show you. If you do like this, then you get all the copies at once, and you see you cannot choose the the bottom spacing. And while you can have inter line separation like this, if you change that, if your sketch is not fully constrained, then only the points which are on the lines will move, not the whole geometries, because only one point, you see, is on that line. So, and if you move, you can see what I mean. So if you want to make a large array of objects, the thing is that FreeCad doesn't behave well with large number of geometries. So if you want to make a large number of geometries, to make something like let me show you where are there that picture. If you want to make something like this, then your best option is to actually remove all the constraints, because the constraints slow down a lot your sketch. So if you want to make a large array with the rectangular array tool, then you probably want to remove all the constraints. So if you remove the constraints, then you cannot set the vertical distance, which is very annoying. So yeah, I want to use the improvement that I made with oh wait, I think I crashed it. No, that's all right. I want to use the improvement that I made with the that Abdullah made actually, with the draw function, which actually draws a preview of geometries. So you see, I will put 20. You can have a lot of geometries in preview, and it's not lagging at all. So we'll use that and improve that tool. And so for that purpose, I want to show you the whole process of making a new tool in Sketcher. And because here you can see we already there is already the rectangular array draw sketch handler. So draw sketch handler is like the class of a tool basically, and you see there is already a class for that tool, and we'll just create another one, because another, as if this one doesn't exist. Because this way I can show you the whole process. So the idea is pretty simple. I will start by selecting the rotate tool, which is actually fairly similar, so the code will be very similar. So I will use that, and then I will go to a text editor. Here I'm using Notepad++, and the idea is that I will just paste the whole thing, and then I will control F, replace all, and I will replace rotate by translate. So basically that will there you go. And let's see, rotate without a majuscule and translate like this, replace all there. So the idea is that it actually just replace all the names that have rotate in them. It will be replaced by translate. So let me paste that here. There you go. You see here, for example, you see the name of that class. It has translate. So that's like it helps remove all the thing that we have to do. So let's close all the tabs here so we can see clearly what we have. So the first, we'll have a look at those three functions first. So those commands are what is triggered from the GUI. So if we go down here, we have like this function, which actually creates like you have to declare your function here. So you see you have all the different commands. So I'll just copy that, paste that, and we'll replace that by translate. Right. Then the next thing that we are going to do is that we need an icon for the tool. So let me go to geometry, and so basically we'll just copy paste the rectangular array icon because it's actually the same. We're making the same tool basically. So we want to call that translate because that's the name we're using here, translate. All right. So if we have a look at the icon, we'll keep it at the same as we currently have here. Okay, let me just check that it's still recording. That's all right. So now the icon needs to be registered in the folder. You see we are in the Sketcher folder, right? In the Sketcher folder you have GUI and app. Will mostly work on in GUI. In resources you have the icons, and here we have sketcher.qrc, and that we are going to edit that, and we need to add the icon here. So you see rotate, for example, we paste that and we put translate. So that's how the program will know that there is this icon that is available here. All right, so let's keep moving, and then we also need to declare the function in the workbench.cpp. Workbench.cpp is like where all the tool sets are declared. So you see I search for rotate because we are going to implement it at the same place as rotate, and we are going, you see here there is actually two places because I think you can choose two different tool sets. So we'll just apply that in both, and we'll just put translate here. That's our command name, and we'll also put that here. Let me correct that. Okay, so workbench is okay. And so now actually if we build the project, let's build it, you will see the tool will already appear, and it will do exactly the same as the rotate tool, because basically we copy paste the tool. So rectangular array, let's see, it's currently building, so we're going to move ahead. Let's see first this one, translate. All right, this one we don't have to do anything, we'll just leave it here. Let me check that. Right, activated is the function that gets triggered when you click the icon. So basically what that does is that it gets all the the list of all the selected geometries, and it put them into a vector of int. It's an int because it's geometry identifiers. So, and then at the end, so here it's just taking the geometry ID, and here you see it's actually creating the draw sketch handler, which has one parameter. It's the list of geo IDs. So that's all right. We don't need to change. It's exactly the same as for the rotate tool. What does he want? Reload. All right. So here it's giving us an error because we didn't close FreeCAD, and then we should build again. Let's just build again. Yeah, it just updated, so we lost that. So as I was saying, it's the same as for the rotate tool, so we don't need to change anything here. Oh wait, I didn't change that at the correct position. That's actually the rotate tool. Right. So now this here, I'll have a look. You can see my Control F replace put translate everywhere. Menu text, translate geometries, translate selected geometries, and this is the tooltip, so it explains what the tool does, and for that's the shortcut. So we cannot keep the same as for rotate, so we'll use another one, maybe W. I'm not sure it's used, but let's go. Enable creation of rectangular patterns. Translate geometries and time. Right, well, just leave it like this. So now the main things that are happening is in this function. So we'll have a look. Yeah, it built, so I will show you what I meant by okay. So this is the tool, the draw sketch handler of rotate, and we need to modify it such that it actually makes sense in our case, and it does what we want to. Come on. So you see now we should have the translate tool here, which appeared with the correct icon, and if I click it, you will see it's actually the same. It's the rotate command because we copy paste it. It's just the name which is different. So if we want the function to be different, we'll have to obviously adapt the class to do what we want. So all right, sig first, sig second. Alors, so this is where the class is initialized. We'll have a look at that later. This is the select mode. It's like the steps of the tool. You have maybe a first step, a second step, a third step, and that's how we'll like move around in the tool. And then you have an activated function, a deactivated function, which basically runs at the beginning, and you see here this is creating the cursor icon, so we don't need to change that. First curve created. This is we are storing the index of the first curve that we'll create. It will be useful later. And that is for tool settings. So in tool settings here, we have to create a new case, which will be in the case 2020. That will be modified when before it merge, but it lets you see how the tool settings is set up. So the ID here. UI parameter 1, right, we need more than one parameter, so we'll just copy paste another one, 1 2 3 4. Well, let's take that scale here. So we are going to have maybe, what do we need actually? We need a checkbox first to know if we want to keep original geometries. We'll want a second checkbox to know if we want to clone the constraints or not. So we'll add that here, and that will add the checkbox and arc, but it will not be this. And scale we have to change to translate here. I think it should be less. Alright, scale, keep original geometries, and that's alright. Clone constraints, scale. Let's see. Let's have. Oh no, I already closed that. So that we can close. Clone constraints. This is select the reference point of the translation. Alright, so we have to know the number of copies, number of let's say columns, and number of rows. Right, and we can have like horizontal, or is first what do I want? First, how is it called? Translation vector length. And we actually want a fourth one. Let's rather use first number of copies, and then we'll have second number of copies here. Alright, first translation length. Alright, we'll just swap them. So it will be the label number 4, and we want second translation length. Alright, that should be alright, and we want to enable the fourth parameter. Just 4. Alright, so we should have here we want to change that also, and we have to set the level here. Alright, so that's set our tool setting. We'll save that, and we go back to command, no, not that one, this one, the command sketcher tools, which are where we are implementing the constraint, the command. So we'll put 20 here and set label. What is that? Not what is that, but what is it doing here? Set label. We're already doing that. We're just going to remove that. Alright, so it should be alright. The activated is empty, and now you see here is the core of a command. You have 3 functions: move mouse, press button, and release button. Basically, move mouse is triggering when you move the mouse on the viewer. Press button is when you press the button, and release button is when you release button, basically. So basically we have several things happening here. You see, if you look at the mouse move, you have here 3 cases which are actually depending on the mode. So it depends on the steps you are in the tool. you will not want the same actions to happen. So you see here, static first. What is happening is that it's looking if we are currently in snap mode, and if we are, we set the position at the right. Let's see that. Press button, release button. So initially we just want the to, let me see, we could also have XY coordinates of the initial point, but I'm not sure if that actually makes sense to have them. I don't remember how it is done for the rotate tool, for instance. Yeah, for the rotate tool we have X of center point. You can basically set the X and Y of the center point, or you can select it. And we could have the same for the translation. Do we want to have the same or not? That is a good question, and I don't know. And for the scale tool, I don't think. Oh yeah, I done that too for the scale tool. Okay, I've done that for the other tools, so let's just do it also. So we'll go back at the tool settings here, task tool settings, and we'll just so we want that XY of reference point, so that will give us plenty of checkboxes, right? Do we have already 6 checkboxes? Yeah, we have 6. That's good. First number of copy, first translation length, second number of copies, second translation length, all right. Parameters, we're going to have 5 here, and here 6. All right. Well, that sounds okay. So now we have we'll have first the coordinate of the first point. So here, if what happens is that on the seek first mode, it will be when our mouse is looking for the reference point for the translation. So when we are in this mode, if the first setting, so the X coordinate and the Y settings are set, then it will actually trigger the button. So it will act as if you clicked somewhere. So yeah, so that's basically it. We don't need to change anything here. Then status 6 second. Here we want to we want to think a little bit. Tool settings, first select the first point that will define the rotation angle. So that's not that. So this is just the label on the tool settings that explain what you need to do. So we're going to do select first translation point. Does that even make sense? Select first translation point. Right. Let's just leave that for now. Length equal on sketch position minus center point. Center point is the point that has been defined. Yeah, so that's something I didn't show, is that in the press button function here you have also a status seek first, and in this status seek first, what is happening is that it's actually giving us the center point here. Wait, it's what's happening? If not snap mode, all right. Well, we are getting the center point here. can trust me on that one. And then mouse move, where are we? Yeah, right, so we'll go back to statistics second here. So here what we are calculating is the length. Is that what we want? No. So let's step back a little bit here. We are going to think about the different how to say that, the different things that we will need for this function. And so for this function we will need a vector, which is we will want the first translation vector, and then let's try never mind, second translation vector, which will be like the vector separating each unit on one axis and then on the second axis. What do we want? What else do we want? Nothing. I don't think so. Okay. I think there are several things that we'll remove, but we'll do that later. Let's go back to our mouse move. If snap mode. All right. So length. We don't care about length here. We care about first reference point is not a good name. Center point. Sorry. We want reference point. And we need to change that everywhere where it appears. Let's go back to here. It will be here. It's here. Yeah, it's everywhere. Center point. Yeah, it's not a good name. Let's just change that. Right. All right. I think we changed it everywhere we went so far. So yeah, so what we want is to get the first translation vector. So first translation vector equals just the on sketch position minus reference point. Start angle, we don't need that. No, we don't need that. Start point equal on sketch position, right? Yeah, right. If get snap point, right? Reference point, angle, start angle, we don't care about start angle. No, we don't care about that. So let's remove that. Let's just remove that like this. Else start angle, start point, yeah, right. It's because we are doing like, if we are doing a snap with 5 degree, first it will check if we are snapping to a point, and if we don't, it will snap at 5 degree. And do we actually want that to happen? Plus length. Oh, I removed length. Let's go back a little bit. We'll just keep that as it is, like this, and snap mode here. Start angle, yeah, start angle doesn't, maybe we'll need that here, start angle. No, but it's the same, we don't want start angle, we just want start point, so we can just leave that empty, or it's better like this. This function is actually taking the start point and modifying it. So this if statement is actually modifying start point if it's snapping to a point. So, and if it doesn't, it doesn't change it. It will change here. So yeah, reference point plus length, start angle. Are you kidding me? Here is start angle again. Yeah. yeah, that will be necessary for snapping, so we'll just leave it here. And what we want is to have the length, not the length, the first translation vector. I do hope that you can see the text on your screens, because if you don't, all I'm doing is totally pointless and it will annoy me a lot. So I just increased text size, but it might be a little bit late for that. Let's see what we want. We want start point. We don't want first. Well, start point. Yeah, start point is not a very good name. First point. Yeah, first translation point is better. First translation point. Yeah, let's try to keep things logical here, because it quickly gets difficult to understand. Why he doesn't want that? Oh, yeah, it is okay. All right. So now that we have the first translation point, we can calculate the first translation vector. And then what do we want to print? We can print those. We can keep those. So that's all right. Edit curve, start point. We'll keep that as well. So basically, what we want to do, we want to draw the first direction of geometries. So it's something that is actually here. Generate translated geometries.